goodness. So what about, did you get your essentials? Is that coming at least? Like soap and... Soap? They can't send you soap until May. That's crazy. I'll give you some soap. I have an extra bar. Are we live right now? Yeah. Okay.
It's okay, it's very nice.
Okay, so we will continue with the Ramananda Sambad. So yesterday we came to this famous verse establishing the platform of pure devotion, Jnane Prayasham. I would like to, because that translation's a little confusing, because it's an elaborated translation. I can read another translation. So it's Jnane Prayasham Udapashyanamante eva jivanti sammukhaditam bhavadiya vartam stanestito shutikatam tanuvan manobir je prajaso jitadito piyasitais trilokyam. And in whatever position they may be, those who give up the endeavor for knowledge, surrender to the sadhus, and dedicate their lives, bodily, verbally, and mentally, to their talks of the Lord, can conquer the Lord, who is otherwise unconquerable. So if there's a formula, normally we won't say there is a formula. But if somebody wants a formula, this is the formula. To give up self-endeavor, to give up calculated approach, and to take shelter of the sadhus, to hear their divine messages, and to dedicate oneself wholesale to those divine messages.
You're reading from something specific?
We're reading from the Ramananda Sambad.
Yeah, but because you...
Oh, this is just a different translation.
Oh, okay.
It's a little confusing, this translation. Sorry, what did you say? Mm-hmm.
That's the formula.
Yeah, that's another formula, yes. Yeah, this verse is just more complete. That verse is specific, let's say one aspect. The disciples' approach towards Guru and the Guru's qualification. So, yeah, that's a very important verse for us too. But this one is more complete. The Lord is there, the Vaishnavas are there, the sincere seeker is there, the mood of approach, lifestyle. Like, it's a very complete verse here. Okay, so here Mahaprabhu says, Eho hoi, Prabhu kohe, Eho hoi, age kahahar, Rai kohe, prema bhakti, sarva sadhyasar. At this point, Sri Chaitanya Mahaprabhu replied, this is all right, but still you can speak more on the subject. Ramananda Rai then replied, ecstatic love for the Supreme Personality of Godhead is the essence of all perfection. Prema Bhakti. And now we have a quotation. They're included, now we have two verses which are included in the Padyavali of Srila Rupa Goswami, verse collection of Rupa Goswami. And maybe the first one is in Bhagavatam? No, maybe not. I'm mixing it up. Okay. So Ramananda Raya said, Prema Bhakti, this is perfection. And then he's citing two verses describing the nature of characteristics of Prema Bhakti. Nano pachada krita pujanam arta bando premnaiva bhakta hridayam sukha vidrutam syat yavat kshudasti jatade jarata pipasa tavat sukhaya bhavato nanubaksha peye. Ramananda Rai continued, as long as there is hunger and thirst within the stomach, varieties of food and drink make one feel very happy. Similarly, when the Lord is worshipped with pure love, the various activities performed in the course of that worship awaken transcendental bliss in the heart of the devotee. As long as there is hunger and thirst within the stomach, varieties of food and drink make one feel very happy. Similarly, when the Lord is worshipped with pure love, the various activities performed in the course of that worship awaken transcendental bliss in the heart of the devotee. And on the other hand, if one is not worshipping the Lord with pure love, then one will not feel great joy. And this, this analogy of hunger is also, this prema bhakti, it's a type of hunger. And that is described in the following verse. It's a need that is awakened within one's heart. Krishna bhakti rasa bhavita mati kriyatam jadi kutopi labhyate tachalolyam apimulyam ekalam janma koti sukriterna labhyate. So this is a famous verse everybody knows and very dear to our Gurudev, quoted many times. Pure devotional service in Krishna consciousness cannot be had even by pious activity in hundreds and thousands of lives. It can be attained only by paying one price, that is, intense greed to obtain it. If it is available somewhere, one must purchase it without delay. So Krishna bhakti rasa bhavitamati, this type of consciousness that is steeped in the most intense type of ecstatic devotion to Krishna. If you find it anywhere, you should purchase it immediately. However, there's only one price for that. That is your lolyam, that is your greed. That is the only way to get it. You can perform pious activities, auspicious activities for innumerable lifetimes, and you won't get that Krishna bhakti. It will not be possible. It is not by performing some particular rituals, particular activities that you can expect to get this. No, it is only by your hunger, it is only by your intense desire to have it. Then you will have it. And when...
There must be some kind of revelation for that, isn't it? Would it be possible to desire something to such a great intensity if you had no experience or no idea what it is?
Well, it is something that will be awakened in connection with the Vaishnava. That was the next thing I was going to say. When somebody, Srila Sridhar Maharaj was discussing this verse, and then somebody asked him, well, how do we get that hunger? And Srila Sridhar Maharaj said, we have to associate with hungry men. Through their grace, some, transmission will take place, and such a hunger may be awakened within our hearts.
And Bhakti Maharaj was saying you should stop eating fast food as well.
Absolutely.
So the development of natural hunger is partially that you don't eat something which is not that.
Yes, absolutely. Absolutely.
Remain loyal to that.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, this is the science of devotion, and we need to study and discuss these things.
What would be an example of that? Like, in something like, for instance, like the science
It means that if you go to eat pizza at Pizza Hut, or you go to eat a burger at McDonald's, then when you go to your mother's house who's prepared a wonderful home-cooked meal with organic produce and gourmet preparations, you won't be able to appreciate it because your stomach is already full. So in the same way, if we are absorbing our consciousness in many unnecessary mundane things, if we are maintaining association with persons, with elements, with conceptions that are not conducive to our spiritual development, then we won't really be able to feel the value of what's being given to us. We could be receiving the greatest nectar, but if our head is full of so many other things, then we won't really be able to hear it, we won't appreciate the value of it. If we're hearing many different ideas, and it doesn't mean that we become crazy and we don't go outside of our houses like we're all doing right now, not going inside our houses. Don't look at the news, don't go out of your house, don't talk to anybody who's not wearing tilak. It doesn't mean we're going to go crazy like that. But in terms of a conscious exchange, in terms of putting your faith in somebody, we want to have some, we have some feelings of, connection with many persons, but there is degree and there is angle of adjustment. We will feel care, towards everyone, but it is about how our approach to them, how our relationship with them is properly adjusted.
This fast food also can be
Sorry, say that.
This idea of fast food, it also can be interpreted by mundane aspirations, like accumulation of the funds for such thing as self-expression or self-establishment.
Accumulation of
funds.
As an example.
Value, like money,
Mm-hmm.
like acquiring money for self-establishment in this world, and search for power or desire to control the environment, and then search for recognition from others or a good name, and search for enjoyment. So these also could be seen as the fast food, the things which, by taking, you would naturally lose the appetite for the real thing. When the real thing would be presented, you just wouldn't feel it being tasty, because like when you eat like 3 pizzas, and then if someone brings you something very nice, it doesn't matter what it would be, it wouldn't taste good at all. You'll feel sick because it was so full of already what you ate. So, development of detox.
Yeah.
Development of natural hunger.
Yeah. So, to feed these different tendencies that we have within ourselves, we want to avoid that. Is that clear? No. Prabhu ko he eho hoy age kahar, rai ko he dasya prem sarva sadhya sar. Hearing up to the point of spontaneous love, the Lord said, "This is all right, but if you know more, please tell me." So Mahaprabhu was also very satisfied with this, that he wants to hear more. In reply, Ramananda Rai said, "Spontaneous loving service in servitude, as exchanged by master and servant, is the highest perfection." So these last few verses, Ramananda Rai has been describing the platform upon which service in Vrindavan is carried out. This mood of spontaneous attraction. The path of, rag, natural attachment to the Lord. And so now Ramanujavai is going to describe the different expressions of that and the different service relationships that Krishna has with his devotees. So he's starting with Dasya Prem, this ecstatic relationship in servitude. And now there is a quotation from Bhagavatam, spoken by Durvasa Muni. And this is spoken by Durvasa Muni after he realized his mistake, his offense to Ambarish Maharaj. Yannama shuti machena puman bhavati nirmala tasya tirtha para kimva dasanam avashishyate. A man becomes purified simply by hearing the holy name of the Supreme Personality of Godhead, whose lotus feet create the holy places of pilgrimage. Therefore, what remains to be attained by those who have become his servants? A man becomes purified simply by hearing the holy name of the Supreme Personality of Godhead, whose lotus feet create the holy places of pilgrimage. Therefore, what remains to be attained by those who have become his servants? Are you following that? Okay.
So the holy name of the Lord purifies one person. What to speak of those who are engaged in service of the Lord?
The holy name purifies. Say that again.
The holy name purifies the person who hears it.
Like the point is like a common person.
Yeah. But what to speak of the person who serves the Lord? Like not just utters the name, but
right.
is actively engaged.
So what are they getting?
Yeah.
Okay. Therefore, what remains to be attained by those who have become his servants? Okay. And now this is a very beautiful verse. This is from Jamuna Charja. Kat, could you pass me a copy of Prapana Jivanamrita, please? So this is a verse of Jamuna Charja, and Srila Sridhar Maharaj has included it. Oh, is there a copy there? There should be. There's no copy of Prabhupada. We're all going to hell. This is a disgrace. We normally have a stack there.
Yeah, because it didn't fit all.
Okay, we should have at least one copy. If you go in my room, on the left, the top drawer, there's a copy there, at the back of the drawer. So this is a very beautiful verse spoken by Jamuna Charja, and Srila Sridhar Maharaj has included it in Prapana Jivanamrita. Okay, thank you. But the translation is a little confusing here, so I like the translation here. Bhavantam evanu charan nirantara prashanta nishesha manoda tantara kadaham. Now we've got two copies. Bhavantam evanu charan nirantara prashanta nishesha manoda tantara kadaham aikantika nitya kinkara praharsha yishyami sanata jivitam. So I just want to find, this is, Sagar Maharaj's translation here, which is very nice. Sometimes Sagar Maharaj's translations are a little difficult to understand, but sometimes, all of the time actually, they're always very poetic actually, very beautiful. It's just sometimes they're, I guess, a bit too poetic, so you can't understand them very clearly. When will I bloom in a life of servitude as your eternal... So this is included in the section acceptance of the favorable, and this limb of Sharanagati.
Did you say gloom?
Bloom.
Bloom.
Yes. when will I bloom in a life of servitude as your eternal devotee, my heart pacified due to all other desires being consumed by engagement in your uninterrupted service? When will I bloom in a life of servitude as your eternal devotee, my heart pacified due to all other desires being consumed by engagement in your uninterrupted service? This verse gives so much relief, you know. In Navadvip, I had this on the wall in the office there. And Srila Gurudev, he liked this verse very much too, because it's a very, very nice, you know, depiction of our situation and our hope, you know, that our desires are taking us, our mind is pulling us in many different directions. There's this agitation. So this prayer is here, you know, when will all of those desires be fully consumed in my service to you? When will I awaken in my natural position, awaken to my natural nature as your eternal servant, Lord? And in that natural expression of my desires, all of my material desires, they will be pacified.
I think that's the way they purify the gold. When the gold has a lot of different mixtures in it, when you heat them up high, all the impurities, they basically they burn out. The only thing which remains is the gold.
And there's also this very nice, you know, its translation is such a difficult task, so it hasn't been included in the translation. But there's this very nice expression in the Sanskrit, manorat. Rat is chariot, right? Ratayatra. So manorat, the chariot of the mind. Very nice. The chariot of the mind. Taking us, you know, pulling us, carrying us in so many different ways. Very nice expression.
As I said, it might be a friend or an enemy. If it's an enemy, he takes you to the wrong destination. But if you see your friend, he's naturally attracted to the Lord.
Say that again.
So if your mind is your enemy, he will be pulling you towards wrong direction. But if your mind is your friend, he will be naturally attracted to the Lord.
Right.
And there will be no need to force yourself, because that will be the most natural thing.
Yes. Prabhu ko hai. So Ramananda Rai is describing the glories of dasya ras, the relationship of servitude, you know, how fulfilling that is. Prabhu ko he ho hoi kichu age har, rai ko he sakya prem sarva sadhya sar. Hearing this from Ramananda Rai, the Lord again requested him to go a step further. Kichu age har, a little bit, this is good, but this is okay, but a little bit more. In reply, Ramananda Rai said, loving service to Krishna rendered in fraternity or friendship is the highest perfection. So Sakya Ras or Sakya Prem, as it is said here. And now there's this very nice verse from Srimad Bhagavatam, and I think this was a favorite verse of Srila Swami Maharaj Prabhupada, I believe, and spoken by Shukadeva Goswami, appreciating the fortune of the cowherd boys who are able to have such an intimate relationship with Krishna, eating lunch with him, you know, playing with him. Itam satam brahma sukhanubhutya dasyam gatanam pada daivatena maya shritanam nada dadakena sardam vijahu krita punya punja. neither those engaged in the self-realization of appreciating the Brahman effulgence of the Lord, nor those engaged in devotional service while accepting the Supreme Personality of Godhead as Master, nor those under the clutches of Maya, thinking the Lord an ordinary person, can understand that certain exalted personalities, after accumulating volumes of pious activities, are now playing with the Lord in friendship as cowherd boys. Yes. Neither those engaged in the self-realization of appreciating the Brahman effulgence of the Lord. What is the word for that? Brahma Sukh, who are enjoying the bliss of Brahma, absorbed in the Brahma aspect. Nor those engaged in devotional service while accepting the Supreme Personality of Godhead as Master, or Dasyam, in the mood of servitorship. Nor those under the clutches of Maya, thinking the Lord an ordinary person, Maya Shritanam, those who have taken shelter of Maya, can understand that certain exalted personalities, after accumulating volumes of pious activities, are now playing with the Lord in friendship as cowherd boys. And we see in the gradation of different levels of devotion that once you get to a certain point, everything below, it all looks more or less the same. Like if you're in Goloka, going to Vaikuntha looks just as bad as going to hell, like more or less. That's also like once you're tasting something, it's like once you've got something so tasty, then before you may have appreciated some gradation, right? Between this brand of chocolate and that brand of chocolate, and so on and so forth. But then when you get something that's supremely superior to all of them, by a million degrees, then there's just no comparison anymore. You can't say, oh yeah, this one's a little bit more than that, and this one's a little more than that, and this is the top, it's a bit more than those. No, it's just all of those are worthless now. This is the only thing that really tastes good.
That's inconceivable and unbelievable that our gurus gave that to us.
It is. It really is. So we see Raghunath Das Goswami, he also has this verse where he's describing the different obstacles that persons will face on the path. And so the first, and then Bhaktivinoda Thakur we can actually read that. Must be in rejection of the unfavorable. And then Bhaktivinoda Thakur has a verse where he has a song that he wrote based on that verse. And so he describes these three main obstacles that persons will face. The first, the plane of exploitation; second, the plane of renunciation; and then third, the plane of majesty. The attraction to the Vaikuntha mood of worship. This is Srila Sridhar Maharaj's illumination to this verse. For the pure devotees who have taken refuge in the mellow of pure devotion in Vrindavan, even the reverential service of Lord Narayan in Vaikuntha is considered to be as adverse as the aspiration for worldly pleasure or liberation. See, I'm not making this up. It says it right here. It's originally a verse of Raghunath Das Goswami. And then Bhaktivinoda Thakur, because where there are elaborations on verses by the previous acharyas, by Bhakti Vinoda or Saraswati Thakur, then Srila Sridhar Maharaj has not given a straight translation of those Sanskrit verses. So he's giving Raghunath Das Goswami's verse, and then he gives the Bengali translation, expanded verse translation by Bhakti Vinod Thakur, and we can hear that. And then what I've read just now is Srila Sridhar Maharaj's, summary or illumination of these verses. Anything but Krishna's message, know as falsehood such a passage. Such a harlot is so very dangerous. Devotion to the Lord Sri Krishna, rarely gotten by the jiva, that harlot steals away this consciousness. Do you know what a harlot is? Okay, a harlot is a prostitute. This is what I was saying. Thakur Maharaj's English, it's a little old-fashioned sometimes. So exploitation is compared to a prostitute. The spirit of exploitation, or spirit of selfish enjoyment, or anything that is drawing you away from Krishna's interest, because really your real relationship is with Krishna. So anyone or anything taking you away from that can be compared to a prostitute. So the spirit of exploitation is compared to that. O dear mind, please hear my prayer, and if you hear the presentation of the tigress liberation, all the soul's good prospect shall devour. Because liberation into the impersonal Brahman plane, it is like a kind of spiritual suicide. You're just like swallowed up into this very abstract position. So the desire for liberation is compared to a tigress that will just devour you. You'll lose your existence.
That's like would lead to self-forgetfulness, total self-forgetfulness, where you wouldn't be able to, you wouldn't know who you are, and therefore the idea that you as a servant will also not be there.
I don't know if self-forgetfulness is exactly the right word.
You never think of yourself as a servant.
Yeah, but let's say when you say I, you have some an understanding of who am I. It's ahankar, the covers which are covering you and make you understand who you are. Like in this world we play so many different roles, so many different engagements, but in the Brahmajyoti all those coverings are going away, and therefore you cannot distinguish between I and not I. And Bharati Maharaj is saying that that's the danger, because like if I'm in a room, I'm surrounded by so many friends, parents, people who I have relationships with. And then on the background of that, I can know who I am, because I have so many different engagements around. But if I'm in a place where there's nothingness and there's no relationships, my self-understanding of who I am, it merges with the background. It's like a white dot on a white background. And so that's the idea of the liberation, where you stop perceiving yourself as a unit of consciousness. And you're not unit of exploitation. You're not anything really anymore. Here you might be like even a unit of exploitation. And this is better than being nothing, because from the point of exploitation you can slowly go into the point of dedication. But there, you're a white dot on a white background. So that, in a sense, that leads to self-forgetfulness. And that's why those who end up there, after a long, long, long time...
I mean, like, the word I think we hear more is self-annihilation. Something like that. Because self-forgetfulness kind of, it usually has the connotation of, in offering oneself to the Lord,
Service,
I mean, another point about the Brahmajyoti is that, there's lots of I mean, there's not just one kind of reason for, there's not just one reason for being there. You know, there's Mayavadis, but then there's also Brahmavadis. So it's not like we can make a blanket statement that everyone's in the position. I mean, what you said is totally right, but that doesn't apply to everyone in Brahman consciousness. And you know, it can be a platform to moving to dedication. You know, there's examples of that, like Shukadev Goswami and the four Kumaras. They you know, it's a more innocent position to be in. They're immersed in Brahman consciousness, but when they hear the glories of Krishna, then they're naturally attracted. It can be like a clean platform upon which to move to the devotional current, and that's what's expressed in that verse of Bhagavad Gita, which is earlier in the Ramananda Sambad. Brahma Bhuta Prasanatma na shochati na kankshati sama sarveshu bhuteshu mad bhaktim labate param. Krishna is describing here the Brahma Bhuta, the soul who's realized their spiritual nature, they're absorbed in Brahman. Then, in such a clean position, mad bhaktim labate, such a person, they will come to attain devotion. No. So Srila Sridhar Maharaj described it as a position of being at the door. You know, you're not in yet, but you're at the door. You know, you're approaching there. And if you get, it's not certain you will get something, but you may get, it's very likely you will. And if you do, then it'll be the real thing, because it's a fully clean spiritual platform. So not that has to be the line of approach. As you said, you know, very nicely, you can go directly from exploitation to that, you know. But it is possible, and we hear examples of persons approaching.
When it comes to Shukadev Goswami, the sages were glorifying him because he did not get to that platform, but he came from there. So for him it wasn't an ascending process where he reached that realization, but he kind of not stepped down, but he came from there. And those who are aspiring for that path from material consciousness, they become trapped on that level. So it's like those who are aspiring for the service on the positive side of the reality, they are passing through that plane of existence without stopping in it. It's just like there was an example of the glass floor, a glass elevator which goes up and it passes one floor without stopping at it. So you kind of see what's going on, but you don't go there. But those who are choosing that destination as a final destination, then it becomes more dangerous, because once you're there, your understanding of who you are kind of merges, disappears, and then there's no time anymore. Or that's the point of, we say, where God makes a suicide, how Govind Maharaj said.
Yes. Okay, so then we'll finish this. So both temptations for exploitation, renunciation, both temptations please abandon, and not to speak of liberation, curb attraction for the Lord Narayan. By attraction to that plane, to Vaikuntha you'll be hurled down. Denied the chance to live in Sri Vrindavan. Love for Radha Krishna and Braja bestows the most precious treasure. Adore them in your heart eternally. Rupa Raghunath's feet for such devotion does entreat this Bhakti Vinod, bereft in all humility. Well, it's just after 8, maybe maybe it's a good place to stop. I think. Any last comments when you're ready? Should we stop there? It is very beautiful indeed. Jai Shri Chaitanya Charitamrita Jai.
With our gurus, we didn't even get a chance to have some reading from our gurus.
What did you say?
With our guru, like our we didn't even get a chance to get some attraction for Vaikuntha somewhere.
Well, I don't know if we should speak so soon. We don't know yet. Many things will come up.
Yeah.
1 degree.
But until now, say.
Until now, yeah.
Until now. Yeah.
No, for you I have no doubts,
No.
But for myself I can't be so sure. Who knows, when you see those bright lights of Vaikuntha,
No, for you also. For you.
who knows?
For me, yes.
When you see those glamour lights, the Hollywood Hills,
Oh, yeah, for you. Come on.
and it all goes out the window. Forget the flower gardens of Vrindavan.
Infinite castles of Vaikuntha.
Palaces and castles and jewels and gold and lots of, bright lights and grand figures.
From your mouth. Come on, yeah.
Like choirs and choirs of angels singing.
There's a very funny conversation that takes place that Srila Gurudev and Srila Sridhar Maharaj, they appreciate very much, when Srivas Thakur, he's an avatar of Narada, and Narada, he's connected with the Vaikuntha mood, and so he has appreciation. He also appreciates Vrindavan, but he's connected with the Vaikuntha mood. And so then at one point he starts teasing Swarup Damodar, who's like hardcore Vrindavan Bhakta, and telling him how, what's in Vrindavan? Look at the majesty of my goddess Lakshmi Devi, because there's this special procession taking the Lakshmi Vijay festival in Puri with the goddess Lakshmi represented there. So Shiva is saying, oh, look at the splendor, the majesty, the grandeur of my goddess Lakshmi. And what is there in Vrindavan? A few milkmaids churning butter, some twigs and flowers. Like, why are you so attracted to that? So he Srivas is deliberately making this approach because he wants to hear Swarup Damodar's defense of that, he wants to hear his love for Vrindavan, and so sure enough, he pressed the right buttons, and then Swarup Damodar, he becomes upset and oh, be careful, Narada, you don't know what you're saying here, and actually in Vrindavan, the soil of Vrindavan can give Vaikuntha so many millions of times over. The ankle bells that the cowherd damsels wear are made Chintamani, Charanabhushanam. They are made of Chintamani, transcendental, conscious, wish-fulfilling substance. They're what they wear on their feet. And there, every atom of Vaikuntha contains the opulence of Vaikuntha so many times over. It is a suppressed opulence. The tree, the apparent simplicity of the trees, the water, the earth, but they're all made of Chintamani. They can all give all the jewels and golds that the residents may want, but they're not interested in. They have something sweeter. They have something higher. It's all at their disposal. And Srila Sridhar Maharaj points out that people who are poor, they are attracted to gold and jewels. But people who are wealthy, they're more attracted to natural things. Like once you have all of that, then you're more attracted to simplicity. Flowers and natural, all such natural things.
Relationships.
Relationships, right, exactly,
Love, sweetness,
right.
charm. Because something has to take a place, right? If it's already occupied, cannot something like that?
Sorry, what's that, Dean?
It's nice, the idea that in this world, the infinitesimal part is like jiva, but in Vrindavan, there is no jivas. All the materials are finer, so and
Well, there is Jiva Shakti there.
I know Bhakti was saying that.
But yes, all the what's the word? Let's say the constructing material is superior to Jiva Shakti.
Once jiva approaching that plane, it actually breaks and becomes finer, and the aspect of self-realization goes away. So that idea of self-forgetfulness appears, but not the self-forgetfulness which is in Brahmajyoti happens, but self-forgetfulness in service and love. Such an intense love to your Lord that your remembrance of oneself as disappears. So that aspect of the jiva fades away, and then it becomes something lighter. Something
Like the Swarup, it becomes Swarup.
something else.
Isn't it? It becomes the Swarup. The Jiva becomes then the Swarup.
The Sarup is
Particle of the Lord.
I was going to say that the Sarup will become revealed. Yes.
But
Sarup means the inherent nature, spiritual form of the jiva,
right. So
one's own form. Yeah.
so the Jiva becomes the Swarup.
Well, the jiva is the Sarup already. I mean, it's just covered over and suppressed at present, but the Sarup
But
will
what he
become.
says, like, and what we sometimes hear, like that soil is of a higher substance than our soul, right?
Yeah.
So
It's more raffinate, more boiled down. There's it's so fine. There's not even a tinge of self-remembrance.
Well,
You're so absorbed in.
if that jiva becomes like a particle of Srimati Radharani's servitors group, right? It's like an extension, isn't it? In Goloka Vrindavan, we're talking about Goloka Vrindavan.
I haven't heard anything that implies the emancipation of the actual quality of the Atma, but then the distinction between Jiva and Atma is somewhat relevant. But I personally haven't heard anything that would imply that the actual constitution of the Atma is it's actually fundamentally changed. Still
Yeah, I
remaining
also
infinite-
haven't heard that.
Still remaining infinitesimal, but it's sort of like the actual potential of the Atma is unfathomable at the stage of Jiva. Like when the soul is embodied, then its full potential as servitor of the servitors of is like, I don't know, like if you had a cocoa bean on a tree and you said, this could be a cake one day, you'd be like, it can't be a cake. kind of thing. Still chocolate, but that's not such a good example.
No, I don't know. Maybe it is.
Fully surrendered, with no coverings,
Yeah.
with no false ego. I mean, it's completely covered at the moment.
Yeah.
To reach
Yeah.
that state, then obviously you have to be completely self-surrendered.
Yes.
Bartomesh was saying that something which is impossible happens. So, like a nuclear explosion, like atomic reaction. The atom, you can't divide it, right? But if you do, then this massive explosion happens, and then the smaller particles appear. So the atom cannot be broken in a sense, but if it does, then it's something totally different. So there is the plane where the jiva breaks and becomes something else, something more finer, something of a different nature.
Mm.
But I mean, it's so far away.
Properly awakens to the real nature, which is complete servant of the Lord. Right?
It's very difficult to follow the movements of the Lord because he's so he doesn't move in a linear way. Always changes, always, and then the jiva becomes too heavy to take the turns, like with time. Because if you're driving the big van, and if you're going this type of road on the first turn, it will be knocked over. But if you're in tiny, small, you can like follow. Something like that.
To me, that may be referring to the actual mood rather than constitution, because that's a good point in the way of like, in Vaikuntha, there's no, like, in that particular mood of worship, there's no wiggle room for that much change. But then, like, like as you're saying, if there's not so much awe and reverence and there's more of an intimate rasa, then like the cowhead boys, when like they might jump on Krishna's shoulders and then be playing with each other and this kind of thing. It's a much more dynamic playing. But personally, I actually really doubt that there'd be any constitutional change in the jiva, but there would be, like a lightening of the mood, because that's the thing of like Vaikuntha, it's much more of a heavy mood, like you'd almost, But I'm also not qualified to speak on that. But the one thing that rubs me wrong is it's something I've thought about also, is like, does the jiva make some sort of transition to Swarup Shakti, or is it does it just simply make entrance into this plane that is so much higher than itself? And my impression is that the jiva remains subjective, and the Swarup Shakti, or the Lord, and his expansions remain super subjective, but you enter the super subjective plane as an infinitesimal subject. Infinitesimal, not saying that literal size, because of course size is irrelevant to consciousness, but saying that indivisible, this sort of thing.
Interesting topic.
Yes.
Infinite,
Very nice.
inconceivable. But let's
Sing
go
it.
to seven. Our main focus at the moment. Hari Hari Nama Krishna Yadavaya Namaha.
Hari Hari Nama Krishna Yadavaya Namaha. Yadavaya Madhavaya Keshavaya Namaha. Govinda Ram Shri Madhusudana. Idil Hari Govinda.
Jaya